unjustly either detained or shot or just disrupted the communities that we live in. And so I know that while conversation doesn't necessarily move the needle towards policy, sometimes conversation can be healing and just a step in order to just really find support for ourselves, for each other as a community. And I wanted to make sure that we had a forum to having those kinds of conversations, and not shy away from those conversations. These are kind of the conversations that are really in the back of our minds every day when we do our work. And even when we just think about being stopped by the police, when we're just driving or just doing random things, it can make us feel a sense of anxiety if you are a Black or brown person, because you're not sure how the interaction is going to go. And I'm sure we all have our own stories of how police interactions have gone in our lives in the past. So just as a couple quick reminders, number one, we are live on YouTube right now. So if you do want to follow us that way or send the link out to your students, Jorge, if you can put the link of the YouTube channel that we have in the chat, that would be really great and helpful. Feel free to send that out. Feel free to share that with others. And then secondly, we're just do a quick introduction of all those who are here. We have a pretty small number so far, so maybe we can just do a quick intro. So I'm Sean Best, University Director for the CUNY Black Male Initiative, and it's my colleague Jorge. You want to do a quick introduction, Jorge? I know you're doing a lot of things.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Jorge Alguera, University Assistant Director of CUNY Black Male Initiative, and apparently
Program Administrator for the Zoom call. Norval, quick introduction.
Norval Solon, Director of the Urban Mentoring and Achievement Network at the City College of New York.
Thank you, Norval. Jody?
You're on mute.
Jody, you're on mute.
I do that. I'm sorry about that. I'm Jody Rory, Associate Professor, John Jay College, Director of the Diversity Pre-Law Pipeline Programs at John Jay College.
Great, thank you, Dr. Rory. Marcia?
Marcia Cantarella, Co-Director of the Brothers for Excellence, the CUNY Black Male Initiative at Hunter College.
Awesome, thank you. Ashton?
Good afternoon, everybody. Ashton Holmes, Director of the Urban Male Leadership Academy at the Borough Manhattan Community College.
Thank you so much. Claudia?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Claudia Ramirez, Assistant Director of the Future Now program at Bronx Community College.
Awesome, thank you. Elizabeth? Elizabeth, are you able to unmute?
Oh, I said all that and you didn't hear me. Okay. Hi, Elizabeth Byers, Director of Future Now at BCC. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sean.
Awesome. Good to see you, Elizabeth. So many good things with your students who got to SGA positions. It's so awesome. Congratulations. Andre?
Good afternoon, everybody. Andre Brereton, Assistant Director of the Male Development Empowerment Center at Medgar Evers College.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Austin? Can you hear me, Austin?
Yeah, Austin Shemale, CUNY BMI Central Media Development Specialist.
Thank you, Austin. Priscilla?
Hi, everyone. This is Priscilla Flores from the College Adult Program at the CUNY Creative Arts team. It's great to see everyone.
It's good to see you too, Priscilla. Makiba? Makiba? All right.
Hello, good afternoon. Makiba Pender, Interim Director of Counseling at Medgar Evers College.
Hey, Makiba, good to have you here. Jabril? Jabril? All right, we'll keep it moving. Tevin?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tevin Harris from City Tech BMI. I'm current club president.
Awesome. Good to see you, Tevin. Glad you made it. Michael Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Rodriguez, Kingsborough Community College, Men's Resource Center.
Awesome. Good to see you. Marcus.
Hello, everybody. This is Marcus. I'm a freshman at Medgar Evers, and I'm a CIS major.
Awesome. Good to see you, Marcus. Benjamin. Pascal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Benjamin Pascal, City College of New York, part of the Urban Mentoring Achievement.
Awesome. Thank you, Benjamin. Samantha Richardson. Samantha.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Richardson, and I am a freshman at Medgar Evers College.
Oh, great. Good to have you here. John Michi. John Michi. John. All right. We'll keep it. There you go.
I'm here, John Metche, College of Staten Island, Project Director.
Awesome. Good to see you, John. Raymond Kionis.
Hello, everybody. I am from John Jay College. I'm the Academic Enhancement Assistant at the Urban Mail Initiative.
Awesome. Good to see you. Good to see John Jay in the house. I see a face with a head wrap, but I don't see your name on the actual. Yes, you.
Charmin.
Charmin. There we go.
I'm in undergrad at John Jay College, studying law and society.
Awesome. Awesome. She's one of Jody's people, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Great to see you here. Yan Fang. Yan Fang. Yang Fang Kui. Okay. I'm going to keep it moving.
Hi,
Hey there.
Hi, everyone. This is Yan Fan from Medgar Evers College. My major is special education. This is my second year. Thank you.
Oh, great. Good to have you here. Mr. David. Mr. David, can you hear me?
Yes, man. How are you?
Good, man. Real quick introduction.
All right, David Wells, Brooklyn College, Black and Latino Male Initiative, Associate Director.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't realize that was you. I just saw.
Yeah, I didn't realize my name popped up as Mr. David, but.
All good, man. Sabina, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Hello. Quick introduction of who you are and where you're from.
My name is Sabina. I'm from City College. This is my last year studying political science. I'm part of UMaine.
Oh, fantastic. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. All right. I think I got Jaleel Thomas. Wow. Hey, Jaleel.
Hey, Sean. How are you guys? Jaleel Thomas, Baruch College, graduating in a few weeks with the Bachelor of Arts in Economics, UMLA. You know it.
You know what it is. Congratulations.
BMI System Start. Sean, look where I'm at. I'm actually outside. Probably shouldn't be. I'm right where it started, guys. Bronx Community College, though. This is where I originally started off my stumping ground. So just let that be known.
Yeah,
Great
man.
memories.
Yeah. Jaleel is BMI for life, man. We're so proud of you, bro. Like, so proud of what you've done. So next steps, big things. Alexandra Lozado. All right, I'm gonna haven't heard from her. Kim, can you hear me, Kim? All right, gonna skip Kim. I don't think she's up. Hi, Kim.
How are you? I am a Medgar Evers June 2020 graduate, major in business administration.
Very nice. Congratulations. Awesome. Alexandra, I think we missed you.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute and start the video. I'm still getting the hang of this. Alex Lozada, I work with Joseph Hill and Kamal over at Brew College with the BMI project.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. Awesome. Good to see you. Thanks for making it.
Thank you.
Calwayne, Malcolm. Calwayne, all right. There you go. Hey, Calwayne. You look unmuted, but I don't hear anything from you. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. Richard Rutherford. Richard.
Hi.
Hey there. All right, Kamal Walker. Kamal.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Doing well. How you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good. Just, excited to tune in.
Good. What school are you from in your major, your year? Sorry.
Well, I work with BMI Baruch.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great, man.
Yeah, we're new here. So I'm also a master's student at Baruch. So I'm doing my MA as well.
Fantastic, man. Thanks for helping us out. Glad you're here, man. Good to see you.
And he came from Hunter.
And from Hunter originally, yeah. Okay. All good. Cal Wayne, can you unmute? No, still can't hear you. Can see your mouth moving, but can't hear you. All right, we'll keep working on it. All right, I think that's about it. Sarah, Sarah's connecting to audio. Richard Rutherford, that's the last person who I haven't heard from, I believe. So, all right, we're gonna keep it moving. Feel free to write hellos in the chat as well. We're happy to just say hello to you via the chat and just keep the actual action moving forward. So a couple of quick things. Number one, if you don't know what day it is, it's Thursday. Today is Thursday. That's how I feel like Governor Cuomo has been announcing himself every day. And so, you know, I know that for me, the days are all running together. So just kind of welcome to Thursday. We're so glad to have many of you here from different campuses representing. And we just wanted to touch base on 4 key things today, and I won't hold you long. We want to talk about just COVID-19 relief opportunities, and we want you to share your own COVID-19 relief opportunities that are available in the chat or verbally while we're in this conversation. So please feel free to jump in by adding your resources to the chat. We know that you've been seeing probably emails from me every week that are forwarding along Jose Luis's crew's his numbered prompts and reminders and updates for all the COVID-19 relief opportunities that there are available at CUNY. And so one thing I really want you all just to keep in mind is that those emails are really designed just to keep you abreast as to what CUNY is doing in terms of summer enrollment, in terms of fall enrollment, in terms of academic expectations from your professors. And that's something that's really important to understand, especially when it comes to like the add drop, when it comes to like your grading and your pass fail options. All that stuff is being updated on those emails every week. I know many of you have also your own college's policies about submitting grades and how that's going to work going forward. So I'm sure you're sharing those things with your students, but just keep in mind that all those things that we do share, you know, the goal in our mind is to really just make sure there's academic guidance for you along the way. We also try to, I guess, compile some of the best pieces of information from that document and let you know what they are so that you can be really clear about what the expectations are from the school as well. So for instance, a couple of things that are from that document. Number one, there's a lot of questions about special COVID-19 flexible grading, right? What are the policies? And so there's a whole website that's connected and committed to giving you updates on the grading policies that are going to be, that were approved by the Board of Trustees that are now being available on the CUNY website. And so please make sure you check out the website, CUNY website, and you can even just do a search on the website for flexible grading, and you'll see the policies that have been implemented as a result of conversation with the Board of Trustees and CUNY senior leadership. Also, many have asked about what did the final exams look like for developmental courses? And so given the closing of CUNY campuses for the spring and summer 2020 terms, you know, university-wide final exams for development courses will not be administered for those terms. So under normal circumstances, the CUNY assessment test and writing, the CUNY elementary algebra final exam are administered in person at campus testing centers. But per university policy, you know, these tests normally constitute 35% of a student's final course grade in top-level developmental English as a second language in courses that involve interventions in writing and math. So at this point, the decision to really just make sure that these things are being delayed was made in consultation with ESL, Reading, Writing, and Math Discipline Councils, as well as CUNY Start Leadership and the University Director for Disability Programs. So please, if you have any questions about that, you can email melissa.uber, so Melissa, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, .uber, U-B-E-R, @cuny.edu. Also, there has been some suspension or I guess postponement of disciplinary hearings. So some of you may know students who are going through the disciplinary process at some point, and then it got suspended because of COVID-19. So being aware that the university had determined that most student disciplinary hearings can be postponed until it is possible to hold an in-person hearing in accordance with Article 15 of the CUNY bylaws. Just be aware that many of those have been postponed students to just stay abreast of their email, obviously, and stay in touch so they can understand how they may be affected by that. And then finally, the thing that I think that was most important that I would want everyone to know about, and I'm sure many of you have heard of this as well, but basically as of the CUNY trustees, Board of Trustees meeting regarding COVID-19 flexible grading, there's a couple of recommendations that are now in place, and just kind of reminding you all what that is. So basically, during this semester, all students have the option to convert any or all of the A through F letter grades that they earn in their classes to a credit/no credit grading. Students shall be able to make this decision up to 20 business days after the university's final grade submission deadline. So once selected, the credit/no credit option cannot be reversed. If a student chooses to exercise this option, a passing letter grade A, B, C, or D will be converted to a credit. And while an F will be converted to no credit. And so understanding that's possible. And then courses for a letter grade will continue to be included in a semester and general GPA, while courses for a credit non-credit grade will be excluded, just as is the case with such courses taken at a student's home institution. So if you decide to go credit, no credit, then that doesn't account towards your GPA, doesn't account towards your overall grade point average. And hopefully that'll be to your benefit at the end of the day. And so students who are placed on academic probation by their institution at the start of the spring 2020 semester shall not be penalized with academic dismissal based upon their grades earned this semester. So if you were on academic probation starting this semester, you will not be penalized with academic dismissal based on the grades you earned this semester. So keep that in mind. So I know some people might have already have questions about that, and that's something to keep in mind as well. Before choosing the grading option for one or more of your classes, you should definitely consult with your academic and financial aid advisors regarding potential impact for your financial aid, licensure requirements, and graduate school admissions. Let me say that one more time. Before choosing your grading option for one or more classes this semester, you should, as students, consult with your academic advisor or your financial aid advisor regarding the potential impact to the financial aid, licensure requirements, and graduate school admissions. That means some of you all might be in programs or going to graduate school programs where basically they want to see your GPA. They want to see, like, how did you do? What's the GPA number? And so if you do decide to go with the credit, no credit option, then that might affect their ability to see that in the major that you wanted, that's really going towards your graduate degree, that the GPA was met, or that the requirements were met. So it's going to be hard if a graduate school says we want a 3.5 GPA in your major, and then you decide to take a math course that's your major, and you decide to take a credit versus no credit. They won't know what actual grade you got in that math course. So you need to make sure that you're very aware of that going forward. And the final thing, just to kind of keep in mind for this, is that the special grading, flexible grading policy that's now implemented applies only to this semester. And that the chancellor and may, in his discretion, to meet public health emergency policies and practices, extend this policy to future semesters, if necessary, and report such extension to the Board of Trustees this semester. So basically, this policy is only good for now. It's not necessarily in place for the summer or the fall until the chancellor decides that maybe that's what he wants to do going forward. So keeping that in mind. When it comes to incomplete grades, students who receive an INC in this semester, an incomplete grade for the spring 2020 term, would generally be required to submit outstanding work according to a deadline established by individual colleges of the university, but no later than the last day of the following semester. But the university will allow students to submit incomplete work to faculty for resolution of incomplete grades for courses taken in spring 2020 through the fall 2020 semester. Right? So through the fall 2020 semester. And the new deadline for faculty to submit incomplete to grade forms to the registrar's office for resolution will be Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. So that means if you do receive an incomplete grade, the faculty have the right to extend the actual outstanding work deadline for students up until December 23rd of this year. And that means faculty have the ability to submit those grades up until December 23rd this year. So this date coincides with the final grade submission deadline for the fall 2020 courses. For students who receive incomplete grade in the fall 2019 semester, the university will allow students to submit incomplete work to faculty for resolution through end of summer 2020 semester. All right, so if you have incomplete from the fall, students can submit through summer 2020. So that's a new deadline to keep in mind. The new deadline for faculty to submit incomplete grade forms to the registrar's office for resolution will be August 30th, 2020 for those incomplete grades from fall 2019. All right, so keeping that in mind. So those are some of the academic policies, and there's many things beyond that, but we just asked essentially all the BMI directors to forward these academic continuity guidance documents to the students and all the relevant areas that really will affect student outcomes. There's a lot of stuff on this document also about relief grants, and some of the stuff I sent last month after the last town hall about the Chancellor's Emergency Relief Grant, which you have to actually inquire and apply for. The CARES Act emergency funds, which is something that, again, you have to indicate that the university will sort of decide how they're going to distribute some of that money. And then obviously emergency funds and web resources available for undocumented students. And there is the CUNY student continuity page. If you do a Google search and look up CUNY student continuity page, and we can put that in the chat actually, Jorge, if you don't mind. There is a page that will give you guidance on medical care, housing, emergency funds, immigrant rights, and education. That is on our CUNY website to help just provide some resources and some potential opportunities to support students, especially those who are undocumented. And then finally, there's the pandemic unemployment insurance, where city and state officials have released information on additional unemployment resources as a result of the CARE Act that was passed in March. And so keeping in mind that that's another way you can find resources as well. You might want to contact NYC Well, NYCWELL, which is a confidential 24/7 helpline staffed by trained counselors. They can provide brief counseling and referrals to care in over 200 languages. So you would call this number, 888-692-9355. Again, the number is 888-692-9355. And you can also text WELL, W-E-L-L, to 65173. Text WELL, W-E-L-L, to 65173 to get more information about this sort of unemployment insurance that might be helpful for you. So please keep that in mind. I believe that there is also some support for those who have been adversely affected by this crisis, and you want to know more information about financial aid as it relates to New York State going forward. You can certainly go to the website on CUNY to find out about that, and also look at COVID-19 updates and facts for students, parents, borrowers, and lenders. And I'm going to copy that link and put that in the chat right now for you as well. All right. So with that being said, see, hopefully that goes through. Great. Everyone in meeting. Please Google search that on our CUNY website and you will find the link as I'm trying to open it as well. All right, so just keeping in mind, those are some of the updates that we have regarding COVID-19, regarding the relief that's in support. CUNY BMI, unfortunately, does not have a pool of money to be able to draw from to just give out in this time. And I know there's been some inquiry about that. So I want to be just very transparent that the money that we have designated from this school year has all been given out and all been designated. And we do have a little bit of fundraised monies that we're using for certain efforts like the CUNY BMI conference and for student leadership retreats. And we might redesignate some of that money starting next year. But at this point, we don't necessarily have access to just spend that money freely. We're at the end of the fiscal year and we really have to be wise about the timing of our decision to use that. So just please understand that whatever we get access to in terms of relief support, we will share that information with you and make sure you know what's available to you going forward from this time. CUNY's response for student support has been pretty strong. If you've all been watching and following Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez, he's been doing a great job of just keeping us informed, sending out videos, letting students know what opportunities are there for relief. and also just letting us know that he is just fighting for every resource that CUNY can possibly get, from the state system all the way down, from the governor's office all the way down to the mayor's office and to all the local agencies that are helping support CUNY students across the board. So please be aware that we are certainly trying to make sure that these resources are being available as much as possible. And there's so much more I wish I could do. But obviously, many of you who are the BMI directors on your campus, you're doing your best to stay afloat, to make sure you're passing on information to your students as much as possible. So I do want to open it up before we switch topics to anybody who might want to talk about any more resources that they know about, that they have found to be helpful to them, their programs, to their students. Would anyone like to chime in and talk about additional resources that maybe you did not hear today or so far? Okay. Well, great. So please, if you do hear more resources, please do me a favor and share that with us. Share those resources with us when you're able. And certainly, we would love to hear from you all about like what ways we can better support all those who are interested in doing this work, and all those who are interested in sharing and moving the needle for students who are being disproportionately affected and adversely affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. So the next topic I want to go into is just a little bit more sensitive, and I really do want to make sure that we have an opportunity to have a conversation about this and a discussion, because I know that a lot of you all are thinking the way that I am thinking, in terms of sometimes feeling a sense of hopelessness and feeling a sense of sometimes just despair about how unfairly Black and brown faces are treated in this country when it regards police activity, when it's regarding the way that the criminal justice system disproportionately and unfairly affects us, and even also when it comes to just purely socioeconomic factors around Black and brown communities, seeing that even the COVID-19 crisis has hit Black and brown communities so much harder because of the disproportionate housing access issues that we have, the unfair socioeconomic access point ways and entry ways for Black and brown people to have the opportunity to really lead and to have economic equality. When I think about just how archaic and just kind of backward our two-party political system can be at times, given that this was established over 250, 300 years ago, and we're still relying on a two-party system to really uphold and support structurally this country when there's so much more diversity and so much more need. It doesn't make sense to me why we don't think about some sort of universal basic income for people, or think about ways to really provide equity and fairness. And because of some of these perpetual stereotypes and some of the perpetual ills that have really plagued our communities, we see how people see brown faces as scary and angry and threatening, when you have no idea who people are until you actually talk to them and get to know them. And so because of the ways that stereotypes and prejudice has really run rampant in this country for many hundreds of years, it's to the point now where we're starting to have exposed, thankfully, on social media, on video, the impacts of the criminal justice system and the police system on Black and brown communities. And for many of you who already know this story, Ahmaud Arbery was going for a jog, a 25-year-old man deciding to just go for a run in his neighborhood. And apparently he had been terrorized by two white men who were agonizing and antagonizing him in his apartment and building setting for weeks, I guess, before the incident ever happened. And so essentially Ahmaud Arbery was going for a jog in his neighborhood. And in the process of this jogging, these two men decided to follow him and to deliberately gun him down, start a fight and shoot him. And then provide an incredibly lame excuse that there had been reports of robberies in the neighborhood, which is the reason why they thought that he might have fit a description of someone they were looking for. And then with police investigation and with also news reporters and neighbors speaking up, a lot of people came forward and said that there have been no reports of robberies at all in the neighborhood, and that other people had also saw the encounter and the interaction and conflict between Ahmaud and the two men who had pursued him in previous weeks. And the result was now a dead body, a young man who was promising and bright, who was a college athlete, student scholar, and even had bright hopes about his own future that were now being dashed away and that have been dashed away. And with that brought down also the mood of many people in this country, realizing that in some ways the needle still hasn't moved for Black and brown people to get fairness and treated, because the only reason why these two men were gunned down was because the video got leaked and exposed from the police department when Ahmaud Arbery was actually shot on February 23rd. And we found out about it 2 months later. So with that being said, it is more important to me now more than ever, the role that I get to play in being a part of this CUNY BMI community. I feel like the luckiest man to be able to find this community, given that I was working as a mentor at Brotherhood Sister Soul in Harlem, and Dr. Canarella knew someone who worked there and was deciding to look for someone to help Hunter College with being a BMI coordinator there. And the fact that I was able to just find her, she found me, and I was able to find this community of people who really support and love each other and provide each other the opportunities to become successful as Black and brown men, for you all to even be the reasons why that I pushed myself to even get another degree and to continue to pursue bigger and better dreams for myself. This community is a foundation. Many of you understand that. Many of you have that. Many of you provided that for your own communities. You're the ones that realize that this is the safe space. This is the place where we can talk openly and support and encourage each other. So with that being said, I'd love to hear your reactions. What are your students going through? What do they feel? And what ways are you helping process with them how to make sense of this world that we live in, and how to keep hope and inspiration in front of your face in the midst of many turmoils and trials? I know many of you have not only lived to see this era, but you've seen eras before when I was born of different injustices as well. So please speak from your perspective, and let's share some strategies and some important encouragement. And just know that I love you all, and I will do anything possible to make sure that BMI students have all supports that they need. So I'm going to pause here and open it up for conversation.
Hey, Sean, how you doing? I guess I'll go first since everyone is silent. This is Andre from Medgar Evers College. And I just want to say, first of all, the whole incident makes me very angry, as a Black man, feeling like, I don't have really and truly, that could be any of us, right? That could be any of us going for a jog in our neighborhood, going for a walk, or whatever the case may be. And I think it's more important, for us to come together. It shows, that we need strength in unity, and we really need to come together as a community, just so that, it's not just one person jogging. When they see an individual like Aubrey or anyone else like myself, they feel like they're not just attacking him, but they're attacking an entire community of people. We need to come together. We need to show strength. One of the ways that, I feel that we can definitely combat this, and, this is for the students, is by partnering, with our counseling departments in our individual schools, right? I know recently we had a talk with counseling, and we actually have Makiba online here. She introduced herself earlier, and it's a conversation that needs to be had regarding how you feel, and folks need a place to express themselves when something like this happens, just to come up with solutions. I'm not sure what the solution is really. I feel like we definitely need to come together, and there's strength in unity, like I said, but the major thing is I feel like we need to have open discussion, open dialogue, and partnering with the counseling department, I feel enables us to do that, and it's something that it's much needed on the campus for our students.
Yeah, Andre, thank you. That's, the anger is real. It's palpable, and I understand that feeling. And I had to actually go for a bike ride, and also I did the run as well. But there's only so much running and bike riding you can do, and I think that counseling is really, really important in this time. I'm glad that you have already highlighted that as a resource for you, for your students, for your campus. Many of you also have, connections with your counseling center. That's something to keep in mind. I know David Wells has instituted like a mental health Monday, I want to say, something like this, on Brooklyn College's campus to help their students have a place to process these kinds of things. So that's a really great way, a really great way to really make sure that students are just at least talking about it. And, the one thing I don't want this to do is to paralyze us and to stop talking. We have to continue to verbalize our frustrations and our anger. That is a part of how we learn to heal. And, please keep talking. So thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Oh.
Go ahead, please. I saw Sarah had her hand raised. Sarah?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, in short, it's frustrating. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being tired. Like it's like at this point, it's like Black people can't even exist in the world, Like Ahmaud was literally jogging and he had his life taken away from him. There was another Black woman who was shot, who was murdered. She was shot 5 times because officers were serving some type of warrant and she was shot 5 times in her sleep. For what? For what?
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, Breonna Taylor. That's the name of the woman that Sarah's referring to. Many of you all also heard that story. There was a police raid that was done in, and I'm not remembering the town she was in. I want to say Houston, but I don't know if that's right. But she was literally sleeping in her own bed.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville. Thank you. And literally she was sleeping in her own bed. The police raided the apartment and shot her while she was asleep because they said they were looking for someone who fit the description of someone who committed a crime. It turns out the person they were looking for had already been arrested earlier that day. And then on top of that, she was asleep. So what threat was she to anyone, right? But that is what happens when people when they see a Black and brown face, they are immediately threatened by the color of your skin. They're threatened by just the pure presence of you. And so, Sarah, I understand that tiredness, that fatigue that comes around having to defend yourself or even just being aware of someone else's perception. I don't know if many of you saw, even in a subway yesterday, there was a young lady with her daughter who was wearing a mask, and the police were actually ridiculing her and giving her a hard time, saying she wasn't wearing her mask properly, so they wouldn't let her board the train. And they made her reverse course, come up the stairs with her like 3-year-old daughter or 4-year-old daughter in her hand. And she was going to go on another train. And so the police were like, no, you can't. And they literally grabbed her and pulled her away from her child just to remove her from the subway station. And so it's so crazy and nonsensical the way that these human beings are treating other human beings. I think they forget that they're human beings and that we're all trying to figure out how to do this thing together. And then on top of that, we have the social distancing rules, but yet you feel the need to put your hands on me when I'm not even physically being aggressive towards you, right?
That's the thing that makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
It's so frustrating. Like you have people in Manhattan, the pier was so full. It was so full. Police were handing out masks, but yet in Brooklyn, all over the place, you're brutalizing everyone. You're brutalizing people. You know what? It's really frustrating. I can't really communicate this well, but it is frustrating. It's yeah.
Yeah, I've been struggling all week with just communicating like my words. I feel like my thoughts are scrambling, and I just don't feel like I'm even speaking English anymore. So it's so. But thank you for sharing that. I know James had his hand up too. James, I want to give you the floor. James. All right. Richard, you mentioned, I think we didn't get a chance to hear from you earlier. Richard?
Hello. Hi, I'm Richard Rutherford. Currently, I'm a sophomore at City Tech. I got through with the BMI on a virtual BMI from Baruch with PJ here. And
Great.
my major is emerging media. I just kind of wanted to piggyback over that. I think someone said, he said, we got too much comfortable. I do want to state that these are like government funded public agencies that are causing this oppression. And I do feel like it's like a time more than ever now to really get engaged with our local governments, whether they're congressmen, senators, because they really have to say, and we have to give them the power. So I do want to say this is definitely the time to understand how funding works. And I had some proposals I was working on trying to understand who allocates the funds, what's going on in the CUNY system, as long as SUNY system, and where the priorities are amongst the ethics and just the moral convictions of us as Black and brown people of society, and honestly, how we can take more action. Because I feel like a lot of frustration, but what I don't see is a lot of action. And it's like, not only a lot of action, but also how to, I feel like a question is that I constantly face is like, how do you go about the action? So I personally just think it's like getting more in touch with our local government, whether it be congressmen and senators, finding out what policies that are actually negatively affecting us, and really using our voice to those powers, less on social media, but more to the direct people who are causing these systems of oppression blatantly to our face, and also decreasing the funds that go into the government agencies, such as the police, who commit brutality acts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think activism is very important at this point. Thank you, Richard. Richard, would you mind sharing with us real quick? What are ways, like if someone was brand new to the idea of getting involved in local politics, can you tell me like what would they do? Like if a student is here on this call and they want to know, hey, I want to get connected more to my local politics. I really want to get connected to, understanding the policies that affect Black and brown people in my neighborhood. How do I begin that process?
Well, personally, the way I started was just honestly knowing your district. You can Google your congressman and understand from that point on, the congressmen are the ones who propose the laws. And then you just look at their track record and see what they've done in the past and what laws they passed. And then you understand the power. By researching that, you can also research a senator for your district. For your state, and then see what laws they pass and policies. And then you could what we can do is that we could either kind of like support policies that is supporting, or vocal our beliefs and then propose new policies, or get a new senator or get a new congressman to enact what we want and to safeguard our beliefs and political beliefs. As well as we can also, another thing I want to say is that understand the budget plans. A lot of it has to do with money. And if you understand where the money goes, we can understand what allocations is put to forward. Recently, I researched that Cuomo put in bills, and it's like a huge cut to CUNY and SUNY systems, but there's big cuts to transportation and infrastructure, which is like we get like the bill to education is like less than 10% of the funds and the budget that New York State has. So once you're really like understanding where the money goes and really fighting the powers and fighting the identities that these politicians hold, because a lot of it is that it's it's like an alien entity amongst us, and once you're able to identify them, we can actually break the system of repression.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, understanding where the money goes, that's really literally the name of the game. And Richard, you bring up some really great points. Also in the chat, feel free to copy some of these links. Jorge sent a link to how you can get connected in your community board, becoming part of their meetings, their town halls. I'm sure many of you probably had physical restrictions in getting to those meetings, but now hopefully those meetings are virtual, and that's a chance for you to get connected to your community boards. I put a link in there to find out who your local congressman is, your local state, your senator, it's your local Congress people who are representing your district, and looking at a map of the district as well. There's a link that I put in that chat for that, so feel free to copy that down. Samantha, you mentioned voting, census completion, educating each other, and holding our representative accountable is really important. And so that's really key to know. Jorge also reminded us that the community board is literally the street, block, and neighborhood that you live in. So that's literally how you get supported. Understand that someone around you is helping impact the decisions that are affecting you. They're impacting what stores go where, like how many grocery stores are here versus how many department stores are here versus how many hospitals are in your neighborhood versus how many doctors you can get access to. There's all those things are being made, decisions are being made by your community board. I live, if anybody knows Harlem well, I live in Lenox Terrace, which is like a combination of buildings that are really large by 135th Street, 135th and Lenox, next to the Harlem Hospital and to the Schomburg. And there's constant proposals for people to like tear down these like parking lots that we have around here and build up more buildings. And there's been such a strong community effort to resist that now those plans have been postponed and possibly canceled because of the community stepping up, supporting each other, sending out flyers and communicating with one another. So you can have an impact on your community just by connecting with your community board and just talking to them and let them know your opinion. So please keep that in mind. Jody put some good information there about CUNY alum being hired by congressmen locally as well. So keep that in mind. I know some of those congressmen and those honorable people were part of our the John Jay RHB celebration graduation the other day as well. So really great that you have the connections with that. So please keep that in mind. I want to open it up for a couple more people before we wrap up this conversation. Anybody else have any, especially even like administrators? I know students have been chiming in, but anybody with administrators have some ways of helping your staff and students really have these conversations, and what are the strategies to help make sure that young people don't feel hopeless, but they feel a sense of empowerment through their community that is being provided through what you do? Jody.
Yeah, I would love, I appreciate and I'm in total solidarity with the student that spoke and all of the students that are on this this Zoom meeting, and obviously we all feel this great deep pain. My soul hurts me every single day because it's every single day that something happens. And it's happening. If you look, I sent you a link to a news article about a young 14-year-old that was literally beaten down by a police officer recently in Southern California. So this is not something that is new to us, right? But what is, I think, difficult is we're in confinement, so it's a lot more difficult for us to really get into these groups to talk about these issues. And I think that's what Dr. Best is addressing. So I want to encourage the students to do a couple things. Number one, let this motivate you. It motivates me every single day to work towards achieving your goals. And if in the case of our students are trying to become lawyers so we can try to change the system from within. And if you dedicate yourself to your work right now and you keep this as your inspiration to move forward these injustices, you can achieve access to justice for all of us. And you can also learn what ways the law protects you. So I think that's not that the law is necessarily going to protect those that have in our community that have perished, but it can actually protect us in terms of being able to educate one another. So applying ourselves, for example, in our summer programs, ask your professors. We're recreating curriculum right now, right? Because we're all going online. Ask them in advance this summer, write to them and tell them, I want to have a piece on this subject matter in your course. Could you put a couple sessions that are focused on this issue and contextualize it within your discipline? It is your right. You pay our tuition, you pay our salaries. It is your right to have some type of input, right? You can advocate for the inclusion of this in the course curriculum. And I'm encouraging you guys to start doing that now, to start doing it early, talk to your administrators. I am 100% on board. I'm making that happen, and as will the other BMI leaders here.
That's fantastic, Jody. Thank you so much. I think to a degree, and I don't want to be too judgy on my friends or my colleagues, but if you are not incorporating inclusion and equity resources and curriculum in your work, I feel like you're almost missing the entire point of college, of education, of even just like academic mobility for all students, And so I really do put I do put pressure on my colleagues to think about, what is the impact of the topic that you're teaching? What is the impact of, the curriculum on all your students? And also just what ways are you incorporating access, equity, and opportunity for those who may not normally get it? That needs to be a core central part of how you look at your curriculum going forward, no matter what the topic is, whether it be history or science or math or whatever. It needs to be essential in the way that we think about our work, inclusion practices. And so thank you for sharing those resources. I know there are probably a lot more out there. Jaleel, thank you for the recommendation. He put a Google link to check out the Dead Sea Scrolls. He thought that would be a good resource for us for people to read and check out. So please check that out if you're able to. And then also too, there's a lot of great books out there that are really, that talk about injustices and how to sort of keep yourself strong and bold against those feelings that are sometimes surrounding you in society. And so I love the books of empowerment that remind you of the beauty and self-love that need to be important in how we approach this work. I really do believe that if you don't love yourself well, it's hard to love others well, and you can only love others as much as you love yourself. And because I believe that that's the sort of the framework by which we do this work here at BMI. Jaleel, last comment before we start to close.
Thanks, Sean. Totally appreciate the opportunity. And Jody, you raised a great point. And someone who minored in law and policy, I really share that perspective with you. And thank you for sort of, highlighting what's really necessary for sort of prosperity in our community. Folks, I'm no one's preacher. I'm a young guy from Chicago. I go to Baruch College, love New York. I'm about to graduate, doing my thing. But I do want folks to remember, the reason I sort of recommended the Dead Sea Scrolls is because this is some historic book that was written, thousands of years ago, that was founded, Israel or whatever. And sort of speaking about this people of injustice. And I think it sort of gives a good framework into today's society, sort of what we're experiencing, that could sort of highlight some of the reasons on why things happen. That I think to say the least, if you read the sort of context of the book, it sort of gives you, or the books to say the least, it sort of gives you this really honest and sort of straightforward perspective on sort of why things happen. I think it'll be really positive for folks to sort of, see that and just get an experience, guys. I'm no one's preacher, but I'm telling you, it's written. And I hate to call it, but I've done a lot of research. I'm a young, I think I'm a pretty brilliant young guy. Done a lot of research, and I'm telling you, it's written. And I hate to say it, folks, but it's written for Black people. I'm not going to go really too deep into it. I sort of gave my recommendation, but it's written. Y'all can't forget that. And you got to follow God's laws. Follow the laws of God that He set forth, and you'll be fine.
Well, thank you for that encouraging word. I know that, for many, it's really just tough to figure out like what's the way to go forward, and how do we get connected, especially for those who might have, different perspectives about, religion or the role of our faith in this process. But I know that for sure at the end of the day, community is so key. Being connected to each other is so key, and understanding that there are thousands of years of injustice for many communities all over the world. But for what we're going through today in the age of technology, in the age of knowledge and wisdom, we have the opportunity to really connect on a deeper level with using our training, our resources, our education to really move the needle. So I really encourage you all just to keep thinking about how we move the needle forward. Jody, last comment, even though I already said last comment, second last comment. Go ahead.
Okay, second last comment is, I'm sorry, Sean, Dr. Best. I posted an article that I really I have to emphasize. There's two people that I follow on Facebook. They're both professors of law of color, which is a very rare thing. One is a Black male, Anthony Farley. The other one's a Puerto Rican male, Heriberto Roman from the Bronx, South Bronx. And they really post really relevant articles that relate to the topics and issues that our community is really facing on a daily basis, especially within the context of COVID. And one of the articles that Anthony posted, Professor Farley posted today, I posted on the chat. I'm really asking you all to read it. It's a really scientific read. It's the author is Bromwich. She's a comparative immunologist and professor of biology that specializes in immunology at the University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth. But I think especially for the populations that are confined, our brothers and sisters that are confined in prisons, for example, there's a really, really good analysis of how this reopening is going to be affecting us. And I think we really need to read it and be very cautious because it's affecting our communities just at staggering rates disproportionately. And so I think this is something that even though everybody doesn't really understand COVID, this can really help us make smart decisions and safe decisions on how to best protect ourselves and our community. So I'm asking you guys to please read that and just take from it what you can and share it with our communities. Thank you, Dr. Best. Sorry.
That's great. No, it's really good. I'm like Googling him now and trying to find the article. So that's really helpful to know, but I'll definitely check it out and send out a link once we find it. So thank you for that resource. It's really helpful. And yeah, that's what we need. We need to just share resources and ideas. I think, information can help us. Let's use it to our advantage and let's be smart about how we proceed together as a community. So, so basically, I want to wrap here, say thank you all for taking the time to spend a few minutes with us. Hopefully, US students who are there graduating, very much like me. My graduation also just happened today, so I'm happy that's done. But also just understanding that this is just the beginning of the next phase for us to really use our influence and our intellectual pursuits and knowledge to really move the needle for our communities, to collaborate with information, to become stronger and to partner and to really become allies so that we can take 1 + 1 and make it 3. We can actually exponentially grow our resources for one another. And so we look forward to the next time. Just as a reminder, all the links that I'll keep this video going for a little bit. If you want to copy and paste from the chat, any of the links or any of the names, I'm going to keep this open for a little bit. And then also too, continue to follow us on Facebook. We try to repost all the things that are happening with the local BMI projects. We try to also just share opportunities that are happening that we get ourselves that are directly being distributed to you. And we look forward to our staff meeting that we do every third Thursday of the month with our BMI project staff, directors, and support people. That'll be next Thursday. So we'll see you all for that, for those who are going to be part of that. And yes, please enjoy the rest of the weekend. It's going to be 80 degrees plus tomorrow. So be careful, be safe. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people out here in the streets. So be smart about how you choose to engage and, try to avoid the nail salon, the hair salon. I know some of y'all probably ready to get a haircut. I don't have that problem. So, it's all good. But great to see everybody. Have a great rest of the day, great rest of the weekend. And please copy and paste these links, share them as much as possible. And we appreciate y'all for showing up today. All right. All the best. Take care. Blessings, love, peace.